Ash nearly hit the brickwork. Snow crunched behind her. In the darkness, her eyes met a gray cloaked figure. Silence stood between them. Ash raised the blade with an unsteady arm.
Don't cross me tonight, or I'll end you just like I did the last Grey Mage.
Whoa, okay. This obviously isn't the best time for you. We can talk later then.
Without another word, the figure retreated into the dark. Did that count as a win? Ash decided that would be a yes. Definitely a win. The celebratory mood lasted about as long as it took her to realize there were no horses left. With a groan, she took a deep breath and broke into a slow trot. Her fist was still clutching the black and white blade as though she feared nothing more than losing it. As she ran, though she was struggling against them, so too did her thoughts. Each day was a tiny fragment of the hills below. Ash ate snow, lacking easy access to any source of water. Food was a luxury she could not afford given the speed of her travel. Each day she thought she would collapse, and each day she would find herself pushing forward, pushing harder. She swore that with each day that passed, she grew faster. As she arrived to the city gates, she felt as much of a beast as she looked it. She slammed the hilt against the wooden gate.
Hello?
Ash shot a death glare at the head that emerged from the top of the wall.
Open the gate, or I'll open it myself.
Ash thought she could do anything resembling that, but it made for a chilling threat.
Lady Ashmore?
Yes.
Light and shadow? Everyone thought you were dead. Prudence has been inconsolable. Princess Prudence.
I'm alive and I need you to let me in. Now.
The gate began to slowly rise, and Ash felt energy pump through her veins. She blew past the guards and tore towards the palace. Behind her, voices of alarm cried out, but her feet carried her faster than the guards could follow. Something drove her forward. Guards at the palace readied themselves at her approach, recognition's absence from their faces.
Stand back.
The force of the command led the guards to respond, stepping away as Ash erupted through the doors into the throne room. Standing beside the king in the place of the court mage stood Hektor. Ash moved on instinct. She raised the blade, and each footstep carried her flying towards the great mage.
Hektor?
The last thing she saw as she blacked out was Hektor, wide-eyed.
She's moving!
Ash felt sick. No, this is more than that. She felt like cloth shred to tatters.
Hold her down.
She felt a distant pressure as pain racked her body. The world refused to focus, remaining a violent blur. Pain seared through her every nerve.
What's happening to her?
It's the effects of a technique called Grey Burn. I recognized the effects as clear as day from the moment I saw her in the courtroom. It shocked me so much I couldn't move.
You sure it wasn't shocked from her charging with a sword?
I've never heard of any save for a Grey Mage using the technique, though in theory a person in a pair should be able to replicate the technique by drawing on their pair's pool.
The world came to her as though they were being spoken in a distant room.
The strain on the body is enormous. Likely it is why she survived.
And it might be why she dies as well.
Ash reached out, her mind clawing like a beast for magic. Suddenly she felt it, a spark of utter white, and the pain began to fade. A soft darkness came over her and she slipped back into unconsciousness. Reality dawned to her. Hektor. Prude. Ash was bolt upright in the blink of an eye.
Hektor is a Grey Mage.
Her eyes met Hektor, holding an open book sitting beside her bed.
How?
Ash's eyes fell across the room. Her sword, where was it? Cold panic gripped her as she realized it wasn't here.
How did you know?
Hector rose from his seat, stepping forward.
Stay back, you bastard!
The door opened and Prude stepped inside.
Ash, you're awake.
Prude, you need to know something.
I'm a gray mage.
I don't think anyone followed us here.
Close the door and lock it. Have Belinda and Elfnod wait outside, preferably talking. I don't want anyone listening to us.
Wow, I didn't think I'd been gone long enough for you to switch back to princess mode.
Prude shot Ash a dark look.
Not right now, Ash.
Ash turned to Belinda and Elfnod on what to do, only to find the pair had apparently heard the command. That made things easier.
Start talking.
Prude was glaring at Hector, a maelstrom of emotion behind her eyes.
I have been meaning to tell you, ever since we encountered that gray mage.
The one I killed?
Both of them turned to Ash.
You did what?
I killed someone. I still haven't really digested that properly. I feel like I'm in shock every time I think about it, like the whole thing wasn't real. Maybe it wasn't.
Ash, you're babbling.
What? Oh, goddess, this must be what it's like to be Hector.
No comment.
I fought him. I used
Yes, you had it with you when you charged the courtroom.
Then I stabbed him. But he didn't die. Then I did a type of magic. I have no idea what it was. Was it shadow? Was it light? Was it gray? Perhaps it was witch magic.
What did you do, Ash?
I breathed in power from my robe, and then I breathed black, flowery fire.
The two stared wide-eyed. It was Prude who recovered first.
I am sorry, Ash, but we came in here to discuss something else.
She turned back to Hector.
You are a gray mage. What does that mean? Did you kill someone?
No, never. Nothing like that. My parents were members of the cult. Neither was a gray mage themselves. You see, there's something wrong with gray mages. All of them. No matter what they do, they cannot get the organs to work quite right.
Ash thought back to the desecrated body of the great mage she had fought.
They had theorized that a child, raised as a gray mage, allowed to literally grow into the power, would lack this flaw. They had planned that their child, whichever magic it was born with, the opposite would give their life to turn them into a gray mage.
Oh God, your parents did that to you? Wait, weren't you an orphan?
Hector's frown deepened.
I was born without any magic.
A hand laid across his chest.
3 hearts beat within my breast.
Oh, goddess.
Ash could only nod.
Why couldn't you have told me all of this?
I have been hiding this for my entire life. Hiding it from one more person seemed only natural.
You could have told me. You could have said something. We prepared for months, Hector.
His voice trailed off as his eyes looked away, unable to meet Prude's. Ash felt a little awkward being here for this.
The gray mage in your room. It was there because it recognized you? Is that why they're after us? Is it all because of you?
Prude,
Stop.
Tears began to trickle down Prude's cheek.
I don't even know you.
Without another word, Prude stormed out the door, blowing past the startled Belinda and Elfnod. Seeing Prude in so much pain made Ash's own heart felt sunken within her chest. Ash turned to Hector, who was distraught, looking nearest to tears himself. The righteous fire burning inside of her fizzled.
Hector, I'm sorry. Somehow, I've had suspicions about you for a while. But everything I have seen of you tells me you're nothing like the creature I fought. You're a good man.
Ash cocked her head for a moment, thinking.
Good enough, anyway. And Prude really deeply cares about you. That's why she's so hurt. But she'll get over it.
I never meant to hurt her. Light and shadows. I would do anything to have kept her from walking away.
Give her time.
Time passed and silence fell. It was more than a little awkward for Ash as she stood in the dark of that room with Hektor, lingering quietly, brooding. Her mind wandered, and for a moment she had the chance to recall an offhand remark from during the fight. Ash cocked her head to the other side.
Wait, what was that about another Grey Mage?
Hector led Ash through the castle to one of the guest rooms where the alleged dead gray man had been discovered.
I have never seen anything like this.
It wasn't how she had dealt with one of the ones she faced it, but it was certainly dead. The state of decay that the body was in helped her to understand that it was it was a gray mage. They were already in the castle, even with how fast she had traveled here?
Whatever did this is something entirely new. Or perhaps there's a type of witch magic that allows for the warping of metal.
What makes you say that? Couldn't this have been done by a Grey Mage or Paladin amplifying their strength?
Why two great mages would be fighting one another? She didn't know.
No. Look at this.
Hector beckoned Ash to examine the butt of the spine.
It's hollow.
Yes, it appears to have been a medallion. The chain is still intact around her neck.
Are you saying someone weaponized her jewelry?
They warped it into an incredibly thin wire, piercing through the mage's spine and pinning them to the back wall.
So no one knows the sex of this mage. It's either a man or a woman. Who is it?
This was magic, though I will be thrice damned if I could begin to identify what type.
Ash noted.
I'm going to go find some dead roses.
Should I come with you?
No. Stay here. Stay near Prude. Protect her and her mother if it comes to that.
Do you think she'll have told the king about me?
I don't really know what she's going to do right now.
I'll go find her then.
The two parted.